Hi, I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping. Welcome to my craft corner. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make 3 cards using the same basic card design. Each card has just been stepped up a little bit. It's not any harder, but it may take just a little bit more time. All of the cards today are using the Forever Fern stamp set from Stampin Up. This brand new stamp set has all these fern images and some really, really beautiful sayings with it too. It's a great stamp set and I know you're going to love it. I hope that you'll stay with me all the way to the end so you get to see that wow card that comes at the very end because they get stepped up each time. Before we get started, if you have any questions or you need help with ordering Stampin' Up! Product and you don't currently have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator that you work with regularly, I would be happy to help you out. Just go ahead and leave a comment below or send me an email and I'll get back to you and see what I can do to help you with your stamping. All right, Onigo, let's get stamping. All right, for these cards, I should say, all 3 of them, I'm going to be using the Forever Fern stamp set. This is new in the 2020-2021 annual catalog, and it's just a beautiful set that has all of these fern stamps. And they're just have lots of detail, and they're so, so pretty. I'm also using a tiny little strip of the Forever Greenery Designer Series paper. Now, unfortunately, I've cut into all my pieces already, so I don't have full sheets to show you, but I just wanted to very quickly show you what this absolutely gorgeous Designer Series paper looks like. So you can see there's lots of ferns. I wish I had the whole sheet of this to show you because it's so beautiful, but there's lots of ferns, but then there's also just kind of some designs too. So you have that one with some kind of ferns and succulents. Some more leaves and some stripes. It's just some basic leaves and some more, kind of green leaves. And again, just more leaves. And then the piece that we're going to be using today is this stripe. Isn't that beautiful? Just a gorgeous, gorgeous stripe. And on the other side, it has this other just beautiful greenery to it. So it's absolutely beautiful. The Forever Greenery Designer Series paper uses a whole bunch of different greens. It has Pear Pizzazz, Shaded Spruce, Just Jade, which is one of the new ink colors. It also has Pretty Peacock in there, which I think that little bit of blue just makes it absolutely gorgeous. And we're going to use some of that today. So let's get started on the first card. You'll see that I have just a basic 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock that has been folded in half. And then I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that is 3 3/8 by 5 1/4, and a strip of that Forever Greenery Designer Series paper that's a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. I'm just going to stamp this really easy. So I have the stamps that I'm going to use already on blocks and ready to go. And I'm just using 3 different colors today. So I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock, the Pear Pizzazz, and the Garden Green. I'm going to start with my Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to start kind of with this big leaf. And I don't know what kind of leaves these are. I'm sure they're all different leaves, but I don't know what that is. And I'm going to stamp at least twice with each one, just to kind of really give it some color variation. I'm going to come in with some Garden Green, and I'm going to stamp some more leaves. Kind of trying to decide where to put these. I want them to overlap a little bit, but not too much. And then I'm going to come in with my Pretty Peacock. I'm actually going to stamp that a 3rd time down there. So you just get all that different color variation because you've done the 1st generation, 2nd generation, and then even a little bit of 3rd generation stamping. Then I grab the You Can Do This greeting, which is in the stamp set as well. And I'm just going to ink that up with the Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to stamp it towards the bottom. Really easy. There's this great speckle stamp set. This may be my favorite stamp set in my favorite stamp in the whole new catalog. It's just so perfect for adding that little bit of speckle to the background. It's just a really great stamp. And I'm just going to come in with some Pear Pizzazz, and I'm just going to add it And again, stamping multiple times, just kind of adding that to the edges. All right, and that's it. That's all the stamping I'm going to do. So now I'm going to take that card base that I made earlier, and I'm going to come in with just some liquid adhesive. I'm going to very quickly put some liquid adhesive on my cardstock. You don't want to get too much or it'll make your card too stiff. Just enough to hold it down. And I'm just going to glue that on the left side of my card front. And then I'm going to add a strip of that designer series paper. So super quick and easy. Just like that. All right, now I'm going to clean off my stamps and we'll start card number 2. Card number 2 is going to look very similar, but it's just a little bit different. So I'm going to grab my chamois and just start with some fresh stamps that haven't been the same stamps, but make sure they're all nice and clean. So just cleaning all those off. All right. So for my second card, I'm going to start again with a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 inch cardstock that's been folded in half. That's going to be my base. This time the piece of Whisper White is just a little bit different sized. It's 5 inch by 3 3/8 inch. And I'm going to put all these measurements over on my blog so you can check it out. If you want to, if you don't want to write down the measurements, you can go there to get them all. And then I have a little strip of 1/2 inch by 5 inch Pear Pizzazz cardstock. And again, I have another strip of that Forever Greenery Designer Series paper that's 1/2 inch by 5 1/4 inches. And this time I have a piece of Garden Green cardstock that is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. So I'm going to grab the Whisper White once again. This time I'm going to ink up all of my stamps with 2 different colors. So I'm going to start with that same large leaf stamp that I started with last time. And I'm just going to ink up kind of 1/2 of it with the Pear Pizzazz. And then I'm going to come in with the Garden Green and I'm going to ink up the other half. And I kind of overlapped them just a little bit. And now, just like last time, I'm going to stamp a couple times. All right. And that gets you kind of 2 different colors within the same image, if you can see that. So I'm just going to do that same thing with, so I inked a little bit of Pear Pizzazz and I'm coming back in with some Garden Green. Kind of did more Garden Green on this one. Okay. And then for my last one, once again, I'm going to ink this half in Garden Green and then half with Pretty Peacock. And let's see, where do I want that? I didn't get them quite as good job spread out this time. So they all end up just a little bit different each time you do it. All right, so there I've stamped my leaves. Once again, just coming in with my greening and stamping that along the bottom. I'm going to add some speckles again in Pear Pizzazz. Okay, all set. And now I'm just going to assemble my card. This time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere the strip of Forever Greenery Designer Series paper to the right side of this piece of Garden Green cardstock. And you're going to notice it goes all the way from top to bottom. So I'm just going to adhere it just like that. Now I want to add just this little strip of Pear Pizzazz underneath the edge of my stamped piece of cardstock. So I just put a little bit of glue on there, and then I'm just going to come in with my piece of stamped cardstock, and I'm just going to line it up right over top. So it just adds that little strip of Pear Pizzazz. Now, to give this a little bit more dimension, I'm going to go ahead and adhere it with Stampin' Dimensionals. You want to make sure that you get plenty of dimensionals on there so that your card doesn't like smoosh down in the middle. You want it to really stay standing up. So I like to always put one in each corner and then at least a couple in the middle. And then just pull off all those backs. And I'm going to stick that on my card front. You'll see how it kind of overlaps and you can kind of see where the edges come in. And then I'm just going to adhere this to my card front. Quick and easy. That is card number 2. Once I get it stuck on. All right. So card number 2, pretty much the same, but just a little bit different. Not really any harder, it just takes a little bit more time. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to clean off my stamps again so they're fresh and ready to go. I just don't want to get my ink pads muddy if I accidentally do different colors or, you know, get the colors in different areas, whatever. So I'm just going to wipe those off on my chamois. And then we will go on to card number 3. All right, card number 3. So card number 3 basically has the same dimensions as the last one, but this time instead of using Whisper white cardstock, I'm actually using the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. This paper is really nice. It's thick, it's got some tooth to it, it's really great for watercoloring. And we're gonna actually do a little bit of kind of faux watercoloring on this. So, you guessed it, I'm gonna grab that biggest stamp once again. And just like last time, I'm going to ink it up half in Pear Pizzazz and half in Garden Green. All right. But this time, I am going to use my little spritzer. Okay, I have this little spritzer. It just has some water in it. And hopefully it sprays the right direction. And I'm just going to mist my stamp just a little bit. And then I'm going to stamp it on my watercolor paper. All right, and you see how that you've kind of lost the definition. It's kind of turned into some kind of blobby images. That's exactly what we're looking for. So the second stamp I'm going to ink up with the Pear Pizzazz and the Garden Green again. Once again, I'm going to give it a little spritz. And the amount of water you get on here, ooh, this is going to get really muddy. So if you have a lot of water, it'll be much muddier than if you just have a little water. You can see that. All right, so we'll try and see if I can get the last one to kind of be a little bit more clear. So once again, I have that third leaf. I'm going to do it half in Garden Green and half in Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to try to hold my little mister kind of further away so it gets less water. And I'm just going to stamp it again. Yeah, so this time you got a little bit more definition than we did the last couple times. So just like that. Once again, I'm going to grab my greeting and stamp it with Pretty Peacock down at the bottom. All right, this time I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon to it. So we have this really pretty trim. And what I've actually done, so this is what it looks like. I used to have like, you know, a whole roll of it and I only have a tiny bit left. And this is what it looks like on the roll. What I actually did is I cut it in half and I used half on another project. And I'm going to use half on this project. I'm going to come in with some mono adhesive and I'm just going to roll it down the edge of my cardstock. And then I'm going to take that ribbon and I'm just going to lay it underneath the edge and push it down onto that adhesive that I stuck back there. And try to get it straight, which is, I think, the hardest part. All right. So it's all stuck on there. I'm going to come in and just trim off the end a little bit. Okay, push it down on the back. Now I don't like this being sticky right here because we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals again. So I'm going to come in with my embossing buddy, which sadly we don't have anymore. And I'm just going to tap. This just has like some powder in it. And normally use it for heat embossing, but it works well if you have something sticky like this that you don't want to be sticky. That powder will just stick to the sticky so that the sticky is not sticky anymore. That was a lot of stickies. All right, so to finish this up, this time I used a garden green card base, and I have a layer that is that pretty peacock. So I'm gonna glue my strip of Forever Greenery Designer Series paper on the right hand side, just like the last time. All right, and now I'm going to use dimensionals to adhere my cardstock or my piece of stamped image again. And once again, I'm going to put one in each corner and a couple in the middle. So we make sure that it doesn't get smooshed down in the mail. I don't want it to be flattened. I want it to have that nice depth to it when we look at it. Just peeling off the backs. And then I'm going to adhere that to the front, just like the other time. All right. And then once again, that just goes on my card base. So this was 3 cards that were all pretty quick and easy. Just, you know, they got a little bit more stepped up each time. So there you go. That's that kind of last. Oh, I forgot my speckles. Okay, we're going to try to go back in and stamp some speckles in here. And actually, you know what? I'm going to spritz this with some water too. That way the speckles will be kind of wet. All right, so I added those, spritzed with a little water too. Just really quick and easy, easy card. Like I said, 3 different cards that are all very similar. Each one's just a little bit unique in how it was stamped and a little bit, you know, a little bit more time spent on it. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment or, you know, shoot me off an email, hop over to my website, check things out. All of the dimensions are there for you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.